Good afternoon to our cohort members. We're letting everybody kind of shuffle in at this time. Give it a minute or two to have folks join in. And as folks kind of join in slowly, we're excited. This is session 4 of the North Carolina Educators UAS Cohort. We are excited. This cohort is a nonprofit initiative as part of the NCBCE under the governor's office. We've got great supporters of this cohort, the NCDOT, Drone Life. If you're not familiar with Drone Life, dronelife.com, great information to stay up to date on all the different various things happening with the industry. We'll also be introducing 2 folks this afternoon who are with organizations who are supporters of the NCEUASC and what it is that we're doing to help connect educators at all levels, at elementary, middle, and high school, with the information they need to integrate drones into the classroom in order to reinforce various levels of education, not just drone 107 certification, where that's important. We're also looking at drones as a tool to achieve and reinforce more. So without further ado, what I want to do is introduce our first guest speaker. Dr. Kuldeep Rawat is the Dean of Science, Aviation, Health, and Technology at Elizabeth City State University. And as far as opportunities for those folks that are in the working with the high school students, avenues and paths to what they can potentially do beyond high school with drones, ECSU and what Dr. Kuldeep has put together is certainly that next step. So thank you for joining us this afternoon, Dr. Kuldeep. Can you go ahead and, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, Paul, and good afternoon, everybody who has joined us today to learn more about the opportunities that ECSU has in terms of drones. But Elizabeth City State University, we are located in the northeastern part of the state, and we are the only university to offer a 4-year degree program in unmanned aircraft systems. So we started that program in 2019. We do have a long history of offering aviation science degree program, and then we branched into drones as well. And the reason being, as you all know, the demand for remote pilots is expected to increase. By 2024, we're looking at almost 350,000 remote pilots. And this demand is fueled basically because of the increase in the fleet acquisition. So we are talking about over 800,000 fleet drones that will be acquired by 2024. So now we have this degree program established, and what that degree program does is focuses on aviation core. So we do cover aviation core like basic aerodynamics, human factors, safety, air traffic control, national airspace, weather, those topics. And then we also cover technology piece, because as a drone is nothing but a piece of technology, you have to learn how to program it. We also cover some CAD, computer design, instrumentation, and even electronics. And then we delve into a specific UAS core. So we are talking about learning in detail about the regulations that govern the operation of UAS in the national airspace. We also look into different sensors and payloads. And what are the applications, and based on the application, what sensor or a payload you have to use. And then we take them through a course, 2 courses. Basically, there are 2 lab courses. One course will talk about how to design and actually build a custom drone system. Okay, because as you know, some specific application may require, you can't just use an off-the-shelf drone, and that's why you need to learn how to design your own drone and how you integrate various technologies into making one. And then we can look into an application. And right now we are geared more towards precision ag. because of the farms around us. We are also into inspection because northeastern North Carolina has large solar farms, has wind turbines. One of the largest wind turbine in the East Coast is here in Elizabeth City. So that gives us opportunity for inspection and also coastline monitoring. Because we have outer banks here within an hour. So these are the three applications we are focusing. That does not mean we can't do other applications. We actually have sensors all the way from a visual sensor to a thermal to a hyperspectral, multispectral, and even a LiDAR. So we can pretty much cover the whole gamut of drone applications. And then we also focus on some business courses because we do want people to learn the business aspects of drone industry and even be entrepreneur, start their own drone business. And then we give them some electives where they can actually choose, where they would want the drones to be used. So we have emergency management programs. So we let them take some emergency management classes. They can also take some GIS remote sensing. We have a remote sensing center right here. Or they can also take some CJ law enforcement type courses if that's what their interest is. So they have an option to take some elective classes so they can actually learn core drone technology, but then they can also see where they can apply when it comes to job or workforce. So at this point, our program capabilities, if I talk about, we can do, we definitely train people to become drone pilots, sensor operator, mission planning, how to do mission planning for both fixed wing and rotary wing drones. We also focus on data processing. We use industry standard software like Pix4D. If you are in that, you probably have used that to do a lot of our processing, and then also talk about system design integration. And then when it comes to applied research, as I said, we could do precision agriculture, infrastructure, 3D mapping, public safety, you name it. And most of the applications you can learn while you are in the program. And then we are not only thinking about students who are already in college, but we're also thinking about building that pipeline. Okay, so we offer several outreach programs, or I would say summer academies. One of the academy that we have been offering for last 3 years is a drone exploration academy. That's a week-long residential academy. We bring high school students, 9 to 12 graders. They stay on campus. They go through the college life. They eat in the cafeteria and all that good stuff. And then they actually go through the whole drone concepts. We have like 10 different topics that we take them through, and at the end they will end up building a quadcopter, programming a quadcopter, and we then do some competitions with that. So that's a week-long program that we have been doing. We also do an aviation aerospace focus. Now that covers aviation aspects as well. It's not a fully week-long drone program, but it does cover drones, but it also covers various aviation and aerospace design concepts as well. We are offering these summer programs again this summer, starting June the 13th, and the week of June the 13th and the week of June the 20th. So if you know some students who will be interested, it's open to anyone because residential, as long as you can get here, it's fully paid for. It's no cost to anyone, and it's a week long. Now for this year, we have made a slight change because of the focus on getting women into aviation, women into drones. Our drone academy is going to be all girls academy for this year, this summer. Okay. Whereas the aviation aerospace academy is still co-ed. So, if you're interested in drone academy and you are a female, you can apply to this drone academy, or you can also apply to our aviation aerospace academy. Okay. So when we talk about the careers, we definitely, we're looking into, and you probably have read more about it as well, and heard from others. Once you go through the program, you get your degree. You have a wide variety of options. You could be a drone consultant, you could be a program manager, you could be a drone image analyst. You could even get to drone maintenance, but that's going to be a big business very soon as you see more and more drones flying. You could be a guy who's handling logistics, drone logistics, or just you could be a system integrator. So there is, a gamut of opportunities out there in terms of drones. Now, when it comes to the equipment piece at ECSU, if you get here, we have around 20 different drones. I mean, even though program started in 2019, we have been doing drone work prior to that. Okay, it was just not a degree, but we were doing our projects. And so we have a fleet, I would say, on 7 EB drones, from SenseFly. So if you know SenseFly, it has an office in Raleigh. So we fly their fixed wing drones. Then we also have several multi-rotors. We have Typhoons, we have Matri 600. Of course, we have some Phantoms, and we also have the multi-rotor of EB itself, which is used for inspection. And as I said, when it comes to sensors, we have pretty much every sensor that you could see across the industry and the processing software. So just as a reminder, again, we are offering the summer camps. So if you want a taste of what we can offer when you are here on campus doing our summer program, you will definitely get exposure to those technology and those drones as well in the program. We also have a 10-station simulation, for drone as well. We have that as well, where you can actually do some drone simulator experience. And then very soon we are actually building outdoor flying facility. Okay, because we are very close to a Coast Guard base here in Elizabeth City, and that kind of created an issue for the students to actually fly, and we have to go like a 30 minutes distance from here to do that. But now we are trying to overcome that, and we'll have a 250 by 100 by 50 feet cage, basically, that they could use it to fly. And looking into future, we are also acquiring two more drones. One will be a short range delivery drones, because we are going to get into delivery. Delivery is getting big, and then also long range drones. So we don't have them yet, but we have ordered them, and sometime this year we should have them as well. And then that will also become part of our curriculum. But the best way to get taste of what we can offer is get into the summer program. So I would request you all, that if you have any students who are interested in learning about aviation, aerospace, and drone, we have 2 different camps for high school students. So with that, that's my presentation. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Kuldeep. The cost too. Can you just quickly touch on costs associated with attending, ECSU for a bachelor's in unmanned systems?
Great question, Paul. Yes. So there is no additional cost for the training. Okay, there's no like when you're doing flight training, you have a cost, but there's no additional cost. And so whatever the cost is for the tuition, and the tuition to attend Elizabeth City, we are an NC Promise school. So if you know about NC Promise, there are only 3 campuses in UNC system: Elizabeth City State University, Western Carolina, and UNC Pembroke. Okay, we are one of the NC Promise. What that means is that any program, you can pick any program on our campus, you only pay $500 a semester tuition. Okay, so tuition is only $500 a semester. If you're in state, if you're out of state, it's $2,500 a semester. So, and beyond that, you don't pay anything extra for drone flights or nothing. It's all covered. We were just lucky to get a lot of support from funding agency. We wrote several grants to private foundation, federal agencies, and we were successful in getting those grants. And state has also supported us to acquire a lot of this technology. So we are making it available to you at no cost, no additional cost, I would say. But the tuition is only $500 a semester.
That's excellent. And to kind of touch on some of the points you made, there's a lot of things. That's what's so impactful about drones, is that they're having an impact across so many industries. So when you bring a student to a 4-year school, for that 4-year period, you're going to continue to develop them to understand safety and a culture of safety and how to work as a crew, because those skills will be important across any industry. And to be able to get students then a taste of these different agriculture, environmental, power transmission and distribution, it's going to make these future graduates like just so, there's going to be so much potential and opportunity. They're not going to be tracked into like a one specific industry. These students are assets to whichever industry ends up being, make that good decision to bring them on. Drone delivery as well. You touched on the drone delivery. So just wanted to mention how here in Hope County, Causey Aviation Unmanned Flytreks, in partnership with Walmart, we launched our 2nd distribution site last week. So we now have a drone distribution site in Fayetteville, Cumberland County, as well as Rayford in Hope County. And we've hired on more pilots. These are local pilots. The jobs are there, and we need trained folks. So appreciate what you're doing. Dr. Kuldeep, we will be reaching out and sharing that information with the camps and trying to encourage students, these educators with students, and we'll be making that connection to help kind of get folks out there.
Yeah, and we'll also be, just to add to that, we also do professional development, STEM focused professional development for our teachers. We do 2 every year, so that will be coming soon as well. I will pass on that information if you're interested. Most probably it's going to be virtual, so you could be anywhere in North Carolina and still attend that. We support those activities as well, and there's no cost to participate in the camp. As I want to repeat that, there's no cost for a week-long camp. Everything is paid for by us.
Excellent. Thank you so much. If you want to even share contact information, if in the chat at this point, if you want to hang around and keep listening. If not, we appreciate you stopping in. And now we're gonna turn things over to Mr. Gabriel. We have Keith Gabriel, who is Economic Development Site Readiness Manager with Duke Energy. And Duke Energy is just one of those organizations that's just making a splash, again, in not one area, but in multiple areas of their business, from power transmission distribution to mapping, pipelines, as well as that environmental impact. So we're excited to have you here, Keith, and go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what it is that you're doing. And Keith's right here in North Carolina as well.
Yeah, so Paul, thank you. First, before I start, thank you, Dr. Kuldeep. Really appreciate what you're doing. It's phenomenal to see where we are in the drone world today. These things weren't offered 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago when I got into the drone industry. I've been a drone pilot for Duke Energy for 4 years now, been at Duke Energy for a total of 6 years. And as Paul mentioned, I'm an economic development manager, and I run a program called the Site Readiness Program, which helps identify, assess, and evaluate future land for industrial clients. So when you think of large companies such as Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, I'm helping to recruit large land for those types of companies to come to areas that Duke Energy serves. And what that does is create jobs and capital investment and increases the tax base in our areas. So Duke Energy covers six states from an electrical standpoint, and 7 states if we want to count natural gas. So those areas are North Carolina, South Carolina, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, and then we touch natural gas in Tennessee. So as far as a drone standpoint, my job is to do mapping and create marketing videos for the companies that I just mentioned and help entice them on what are they going to see when they come to North Carolina? What are the high points as far as surrounding areas or existing buildings? What type of electrical capacity do we have in the area? What type of natural gas, telecommunications, water, sewer, because they need all the information to make strategic decisions on where they want to come. So another piece of our organization where drones touch, solar panels. We all know that renewable energy is really growing at a rapid exponential pace. So the way we utilize drones with renewable energies, so if you look at solar panels, if you think when solar panels were just being created, we're talking about massive land. So let's say 300, 400 acres of land to get the required megawattage. People used to have to walk those solar panels to see which ones were malfunctioning. Well, in 2016, instead of people having to walk 300 acres, 400 acres, we decided to use drones and attach infrared cameras and create a path. And what happened was the solar panels that had malfunctions, they would turn red. That we would call them hotspots. So what we would do is take that, map that area, take that information and upload it to a computer, and then we could identify, okay, I-4 B4, B6, these are the solar panels that are out. So when our team gets out there and arrives, they already have the information ready and available to change those solar panels. So not only was it safer, not only was it better, it was also efficient, which we're seeing a lot with drones. To my next point, transmission inspection, distribution line inspections. Those things used to be done with helicopters. So our helicopter team would have to block off days at a time to create these inspection maps. And it was really dangerous because these helicopters were flying at a low rate, low height. And if they get hit by a bird or something like that, or if we clip a tree, we've had a couple near misses with that. It also takes a lot of time. What we found was back in 2017, we started doing transmission and distribution line inspections with drones. So we were able to knock out line inspections in 30 minutes to an hour, whereas it would take 3 or 4 days for these helicopters to do the inspection. So again, it's safer and it's more efficient. Other things that I've been involved in and been exposed to with drones is storm duty. If you think back a couple of years ago, we had a couple of hurricanes that came into the area. My job was, I was tasked to do look at our coal ash basins down in Asheville and see how many, get a bird's eye view and send that to our senior vice presidents to identify how many tons of coal was watered down, and how long with that information that team was able to extract that and see how long it was going to take for us to take that coal ash, we call it fly ash and bottom ash, and see how much time it could take for us to recycle and let it dry. So those are other things. I've also been able to assist firefighters with upstarting their drone programs. I mean, that's also efficient and better for their firefighters. When they get a call when they get a call out to a fire, they'll take their drones first to identify the hot spots to see what's really going on in the building, and then they'll have their firefighters go up there with the water hose. Again, it's safer and it's more efficient. You're going to hear that throughout my presentation. 3D mapping has always been big for engineering firms. I've also helped some engineering firms like Centera, that's in the North Carolina and South Carolina area, identify points where they can help their clients create buildings, see what's going to work for their price point, and create 3D modelings with that drone information. I mentioned working with firefighters, but yeah, there's so much other areas. Police officers use drones for search and rescue. Paul mentioned agriculture, environmental, architects is really big, and construction, that's really big. One other thing I want to mention that the Duke Energy drone team has done is in Puerto Rico, there were hurricanes back in 2018, I want to say. We took our team of 3 at the time and went to Puerto Rico, and what we found was that we were able to have an attachment that was able to actually take down and attach power lines. So that was really powerful. That was a transformational experience that we had there. And we're also looking into more of those studies. So again, drones have been a really safe and efficient, and also a good way to play back real-time information and gather what do you need to do and how things can be done. I also know roofing companies take that information. If they have leaks, they're able to look at that. So outside of Duke Energy, there's a lot of opportunities in the drone area. And I'm just really thankful that you all have somebody like Paul to create this organization, and Jeff to be a part of it, and different sponsors to help you guys at a younger age really understand the rudiments and the intricacies of drones and how you can manifest that to something in the future. Paul, thank you for your time. Really open to any questions.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Keith. And I think what's super interesting is how you kind of touch on the fact that even outside of Duke Energy, and Dr. Rawat, he mentioned how through ECSU's Bachelor's in Unmanned Systems program, they're teaching the students like how to use the drones, and they're also teaching them that business side, like how you can take your 107 and it allows you to kind of be this independent operator, like you're this professional pilot with a craft, you know, $1,500, $2,000, you can kind of easily be able to, and even, you know, with less technology, the ability to work with local people and help support the development of drone programs in your community. There's always opportunities outside of just work. And it's kind of not like many other industries where you can kind of keep things, you got the side hustle that everybody nowadays, it's become popular, right? With social media and the advent of being able to kind of get out there and in front of a group, create a web page. This is really a great option for that. So yeah, if there are any questions that folks want to drop into the Q&A section. So just on what you're doing with Duke Energy. So like, just in a nutshell, if you got this piece of property that say, and again, you're out of Charlotte, is that correct, Keith?
That's correct. That's correct.
Correct. Awesome. So like, I encourage any of our cohort members that are in that Charlotte area to reach out. Keith, I'll have you kind of put your contact information in the chat so that we can develop that local, you know, those folks local to you in the education space might be able to come out, see what you're doing, but have some local common ground. So just tell us with regards to a piece of like property, what do you do with the drone, you know, from start to finish as part of your operation? Like, what is it that the drone, the benefit that basically brings those companies like Apple or Amazon?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And before I answer that question, Paul, I want to touch on something that you mentioned. Getting your Part 107 definitely turns you into an independent contractor. And one thing that Dr. Rawat touched on was that professional development. That's really going to be key for all of you guys. Really understanding the benefits of networking, creating and building your own brand, carrying yourself as if everybody's always watching you. You know, people really pay attention to those things. Also, I mean, I'm not sure what age group is this, Paul?
So this is actually, so the members are the educators that are part of this cohort. But the message that you're saying rings true. So for them to understand it, it's just like a step above. So they're actually working directly with those students to help them understand what's out there.
Gotcha. Well, going back to it, touching, creating that brand and watching social media. That's one thing that I really talk to educators and children about. Be mindful of how you want to present your brand on social media, because right now we're living in a world where social media is reality. That's the best way to network via Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, those types of things. So being able to prepare your brand. Going back to your question, Paul, so from start to finish, the way that I work with, I evaluate a site. So I work with, so in Cumberland County, you mentioned Cumberland County, they have a local economic developer there, and their job is to identify land and covenants and deeds for sites that they could potentially have. They know they have some acreage. They're not sure what they want to do with it. They're not sure about the capacities there. So my job is to come in and hire an engineering firm and a site consultant to really look at it and understand what can we target this site for. So if it's about 40 acres, we're going to look at food and beverage, maybe pharmaceuticals. If it's 100 acres plus, we're going to look at manufacturing. We're going to look at to see if it has rail. What characteristics does this site have that's going to be attractive to those companies? So you want to look at things such as high water volume. That's going to be for your food and beverage that I mentioned. So it's different things that go into it. But once I concoct all of the information with my site consultant and my engineering firm, then I'm able to piece together what I want to capture in my drone videos. So I sit down with my team and say, hey, this site it has rail. We definitely want to highlight the rail. It has massive power, and there's a substation not too far down the road. So we want to make sure that's all captured in the video. It's close to a highway, so logistically it's going to work for the site. We can identify truck traffic. It's not near residential. That's a big thing. It doesn't have too much commercial. So we take all of these things into account. And then I grab about an hour worth of footage. And my job is to get an hour worth of footage and knock that down to 2.5 to 3 minutes, just to grab the viewer's attention and say, hey, that site is going to be sold for X amount of dollars per acre. It has everything we need from a logistics standpoint. We understand that it has local support, so we know there's going to be workforce development in the area. And then that's the way we trigger it for our team to say, hey, now we can move forward and get them more involved. One thing that people don't, that if you're not into the economic development industry, one thing that people don't realize is when Amazon is, I'm just taking it for example, when they're looking to expand, they're not only looking into my territories, they're not just looking in North Carolina, they're also looking in Georgia. They're also looking into Florida. They're also looking into Texas. They're looking at the Southeast and seeing, how much money can I make here and hire the minimum amount of people to capitalize on the money that's spent here. So my job is to bring them in and say, hey, we have the workers. So we're looking at colleges and things like that. I'm going probably too in depth into drones, but it's really fascinating because the rewarding part is once we land the company here, it's not just good for Duke Energy. It's good for our county. It's good for our state. It's good for everybody that's involved. And we're also creating jobs for the people that we're teaching today. You know what I mean? So it's very rewarding from that standpoint.
That's a really, really great answer. And I think thinking about how high schools, there's many high schools in the state, 30 plus high schools that are actually, taking drones to that certification level outside of this cohort, but we have more high schools in this cohort that are integrating drones. And you get a drone and then what can you do? Well, you can take students to that local property that's maybe for lease, and you can just simulate creating, like, as a classroom activity, hey, we got to sell this property. Like as your students get a drone video, maybe get a little ground footage, it's integrating drones into things in order to make students more engaged. And what you can be doing is teaching the students about land value, right? Why is this piece of property more valuable than this piece of property? Well, cars come by, look at all the cars that come by here versus here, look at the size of it, look at the access to it. And then how do we kind of sell that? Because you're teaching drones and drone safety, but at the same time, kids are developing an understanding of local real estate. And I think anybody will tell you, to be able to understand real estate and how that works, especially locally, I mean, there's tons of value in that. So it's awesome what you're doing. If there's anything, I'll let you close out, anything last that you just want to add, and then we're going to kind of transition over to kind of what we got here with the DroneBlocks stuff. So,
gotcha. I think you bring up a phenomenal point, because when I say looking at raw land, I mean that it's just trees. So if you go out there, you can't even imagine what could land here. So part of my drone videos are to take the actual facts of what that site looks like right now and create, and with using my engineers, so understanding the boundaries and the buffers and the setbacks that we have to have, creating an imagination of where could the parking lot be, where could we turn into, how many left turns are there going to be into the site, and actually putting 500,000 square feet to 1 million square feet on the site and saying, hey, this is what your site could actually look like if you moved here. We have all the pieces in place to recreate this exact model. And that's been powerful because nobody wants to fly from California to North Carolina just to get boots on the ground and look at dirt and 100-foot trees. But just to close, I think it's really important what you all are doing, touching the children at such a young age and teaching them a way of, like I said earlier, branding themselves and getting them another tool in the toolbox to be successful in the future. So I really appreciate your time, Paul, and I appreciate everybody that's listening. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Keith. That's awesome. If you want to hang around and just kind of see if you got to take off, you can peel out. But we appreciate your time, and we look forward to having you remain a part of supporting our cohort and educators, and we look forward to seeing how you further expand Duke's use of UAS within that environmental and economic development space. So thank you very much, Keith.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Look forward to it.
Hey, Paul, real
And
quick, I just
go ahead,
want to
Jeff.
I want to add something real quick and piggyback off what Keith was saying. So for those of you, Keith mentioned, I heard some key terms. I heard mapping, and mapping and scaling. Paul and I, we did a project with Hope Mills Middle School on that very that exact thing. So I wanted to see if I could share out real quick. Show this real quick. This is a what everybody's seeing here. We put this in a Google slide, but this is actual aerial footage of the baseball field at Hope Mills Middle School. Okay, so what we do is we then, if you look at the well, actually, let me do this. There we go. If you look at the writing on the side, it says this is an aerial view of the Hope Mills baseball field. If the distance from home plate to the pitcher's mound is 60 feet 6 inches, which is from here to here, estimate the distance from home plate to second base. Okay, so the students actually have to do some manual measuring, but if we know that this particular area right here, so if we were to come in and say, all right, let's get a shape. And let's say, all right, so if we know the distance from here to here is 60, let's get it turned real quick. There we go. Get it here and stretch that out. We know this is 60 feet, 60 inches. What's the distance to second base? Just using this drone footage, you could duplicate this. Now move it to here, and you'll see the answer is pretty simple. Okay, it's 121 feet, because you're now using mapping and scaling as a way to introduce students to math. So Keith, you were spot on with that. And I mean, honestly, I could sit with you and listen to you and probably come up with 10 years worth of lesson plans off the stuff you just talked about. All right, here we go. Back to you, Paul.
Well, it's the spatial, right? That spatial awareness, spatial thinking.
That's it.
Because to be able to look at something two-dimensional on a map, and then to know as a drone operator, when you get out there, what you're going to how you're going to want to operate your drone, where you're going to position it. And then once you do enough of this mapping and modeling, and it becomes kind of second nature, you could almost go out to a site, and you would look at it and you would know, hey, this site's about this big because you've been doing it, you've gained experience. But it's amazing to be able to do that sorts of stuff. So what I want to transition to now is DroneBlocks, the curriculum. We want to get some attention back to one of the resources that we have made available to our members, which is the DroneBlocks curriculum. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Sharing now. So this DroneBlocks curriculum, all members, everyone that is tuning in right now has access to, if you go to learn.droneblocks.io, you can log into your DroneBlocks account using the email address that you provided to sign up and register as a cohort member, and your password is DroneBlocks, all lowercase 2021. And I am trying, here we go. So again, once you're logged in, it's going to have your account here. Any cohort member who is having trouble accessing DroneBlocks, please send me an email, Paul Rossi at 910, the numbers, and then drones plural.com. And we've got to get you in here. It's one of the resources, besides having the drone as the piece of hardware, you also have that software. Access to DroneBlocks is free, but when it comes to the education and understanding what you're using, having this as a resource, this one-year membership to jump in here and go through these courses with the creators of the software, you really can't beat it. And I don't know, I think maybe in the beginning, we are so excited and introducing, just getting things going and getting the drone, that we might not have brought enough attention to this as a resource for you, our members, to be able to dive into and find answers and then replay it. So once you've done it once, you'll have to maybe go back in here and just look into something again. And all these lessons, all these courses are outlined very well with video. The reason I'm bringing attention back to this at this point is so that some of the teachers who had been busier during COVID and weren't quite able to attend and follow on are aware of this. And then also they just released their newest course, which is Advanced Teleprogramming. And this is when art meets technology. So once you log in, this is a free course, you click on it and it's going to give you 6 lessons where it's videos and it's step-by-step. You may have to just revisit or go back and complete one of the other videos to help get you to this point. But what this is if you're familiar with the Snapchat, I think TikTok, I think there's some filters on there, but right, these going back to social media, it's kind of funny. We're back talking about social media again, but you've got the filters, so you can kind of swipe to the left or right or whatever it is, up or down, and all of a sudden you have the same picture, but it looks maybe like a watercolor, kind of like in the top left here, or it's all vertical lines. And what DroneBlocks has introduced is the ability to get your drone fired up. It will require a little bit of kind of technical Python, OpenCV. Don't be afraid of these things. Again, all these courses here are the keys to really unlock and give you access to the car or the drone to kind of do more in the classroom. But this course right here is specifically designed to get you to turn the drone on and then have the ability to switch kind of like through filters so that you're changing that drone video live. So as the drone's flying, you're actually seeing it with a filter. Again, this is one of those lessons where it's not necessarily something that's happening in the industry, but to get students to start to think about filters, not just as, oh, I'm staring at my phone and it can do this, but like, what's actually happening in the background. And we'll be diving into this and kind of uncracking that and figuring it out, and working with any of our members who reach out and put some content out there to help you integrate that type of a lesson into your classroom. The one other thing that I wanted to bring up and mention that is new and available to DroneBlocks curriculum or members is where is it? The alpha, here it is. Nope. I did not freeze, I just cannot find. Where it is, DroneBlocks. I'm totally missing it, Jeff. I don't know if you're there. You like, but there is a DroneBlocks. How am I missing it, Jeff? The alpha.
Oh, the alpha. The alpha was located down toward the bottom, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me look in my.
Well, there's DroneBlocks is kind of updating their user interface that we as Tello users, DJI other users of other drones can actually use to fly the drone. And they're starting to integrate a live feed. I don't know how in the heck why I can't see it.
Yeah, I've got the.
I have it open.
Paul,
so.
Okay, you have it open. Okay.
Yeah,
we were just trying to show it in the.
Right, I have it open here. I'm going to power on my Tello. Is my screen sharing paused?
Yeah, I don't see it moving. Paul?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. You might have frozen for a second.
Okay. It's because when I connect to the Tello, am I still on? Do you guys have me?
I can hear you, Paul.
Okay.
Looks like they might have removed Alpha for some reason. Maybe they're going to repost it.
Yeah, and you know.
So you're not losing your mind. It's not there.
Right, okay. And then I don't know why. The drone's connected, but the live feed's not there. I was half expecting this. But if you see, I guess I might be able to fly this drone. You can use, what they've introduced now is the ability to easily, it's not gonna work. But the camera is a little bit in and out. Alpha will share this link and get this out so that our members can start to see where things are moving towards. So they'll be building out this future DroneBlocks software for your PC, other devices where you'll have a camera live feed as the drone's operating, piloting. You'll have the choice to do drag and drop code blocking, just like in the original. You'll also have the ability to use the remote or use your keypad to actually pilot the aircraft in real time, which is really, really neat. And it works really well. So even without the live video, you hit tab, the drone will take off, and then see if I can get it to kind of fly back over here. Oh, I don't know if you saw that, but it flew right into the wall. So yeah, we wanted to show this. Yeah, that was
even Paul crashed.
That was like the 9th or 10th drone that I crashed. So this is exciting. We'll keep you guys up to date on the development of the app. And what's exciting is because you have the camera live feed, is you actually have the ability to take photos. And as this develops, we'll put a video out on it. It's really exciting because it takes away some of the difficult part that all of our cohort members are at various levels. So we've got Matthew Hilton, who's presented previously. He's working on some really excited stuff for the folks on the advanced that are looking to do more advanced operations in the classroom. And we're working with him, and we're going to continue to work on other things for our elementary, middle school folks to be able to work on. That's what I got. And with DroneBlocks, again, that's learn.droneblocks.io. All of our cohort members, you have access to that curriculum.
Yep.
Jeff.
Hey, Paul, if I can jump in just real quick. I've got, ladies and gentlemen, I've got to jump over to another session at 5 p.m. directly. I've got a group of students at Fayetteville State that I work with one day per week. So I just want to tell you, I think it's great what everybody is doing. Keep the ideas coming. If you need help, Paul and I are always here. And we're very flexible. Just email us, tell us when you're available. We'll see if we can jump in and help you out here. But I look forward to really progressing this next year. Just listening to Keith not too long ago, I just came up with a ton of ideas that can be used in the classroom. So those are coming. But everyone, make sure you have a great evening, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next session. Thanks, Paul.
Yep. And this is super exciting. We appreciate everyone's attention and time today. It looks like, I think it was Joseph. Yeah, Joseph mentioned here that he had gotten a tello by posting some stuff on social media in regards to what we're doing, which is really exciting because DroneBlocks, they're very active, and they're again, it's about, I think this is the third time we'll go back to social media. They have a product that they want customers to see, and they do a really fantastic job at recognizing those folks that are using their product really well and engaging students. So I do encourage, as Joseph mentioned, that anytime you've done anything in the classroom with the tello and DroneBlocks to definitely share it. And he won a drone. So the ability to increase the resources that you have and get more kind of drones in the classroom is going to get more students time working. One other thing I do want to mention, but as we kind of close things up here, is a May competition. We are still planning and will be conducting that competition in May. There is no set date for the competition. Because it's virtual, we need to coordinate with each educator when their team of 4 students will be available to complete the competition missions. So what we really need is for those teachers, those cohort educators that have 4 students. If you have 2 teams of 4 students that you've been working with that would like to go through these missions virtually and have time to compete, please, I need you to reach out, send an email. Again, that's Paul, send an email to myself, Paul Rossi at 910drones.com. I just dropped that into the chat. If you're interested, if you want to know more and just figure out what schedule and need to get a little more information, we'll need to have access to Google Remote Desktop. So there's just a couple things that we need to iron out and make sure you have access to. But please, definitely, if you're interested, if you have students interested, reach out and we will get you set up and scheduled for a time to complete those missions. Again, we want to thank ECSU, Elizabeth City State University, Dr. Kuldeep Rawat for his support and their support of what we're doing. Again, they've got that camp that'll be available. So anyone in that local area that's interested, you can reach out to him, reach out to us here at the NCEUASC, and we will make that connection. Duke Energy, Keith, great job, great individual. Reach out if you're in that area and you want to learn more. Or just connect with someone who could come into the classroom and show students that technology, what's available and what opportunities are present locally. Again, dronelife.com. If you haven't, go to dronelife.com, check out what they're doing on that online publication. They shouted out what our cohort is doing, and they share some really relevant, good news. So it's worth checking that out regularly. And the NCBCE for their support and helping all this kind of come to fruition, and Jeff Epps, Emerald City. We appreciate all the support. If you know anyone locally, if you know of any companies or pilots that might have interest or stories or opportunities that they could share and touch base with our cohort members, please do make the connection. So our next session will be coming towards the end of this month or the beginning or sometime in the end of May. We will continue to do some virtual events throughout the summer in order to keep our educators on top of everything that's happening locally in the unmanned systems industry, especially as things build and progress across the state. So thank you everybody for your time and attention, and we look forward to connecting with you at our next session. Have a great evening